bed and said, "There's Blackie! There's Blackie!" What up, people? We back. Another one. DJ Khaled voice. Yo, this is Aiight So Boom. I'm LR Blitzkrieg.
I am the marksman.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man.
I'm doing good too.
The summer's great. Love Brooklyn.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
having a good time.
It's hot out here. And let me tell you, people, when we do the show, my AC is loud. I gotta cut it off.
Right.
So we are suffering in heat with lights on just to entertain you guys.
Yeah, for real.
I hope you appreciate it. And if you do, you might want to go to our web store and pick yourself up some merchandise. We just so happen to have our Aiight So Boom tees on.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, they look
pretty fly.
Thank you, man. You know, I got a little different flavor going on here. You know what I'm saying? I won't say who we jacked the design from, but it looks kind of fly, don't it? Don't it? I look like $1 billion, don't I?
No doubt,
yes, I do, boy. Welcome to the club. Too many puns.
Where can they get these?
Man, as soon as you watch this video, there will be links down below, MCMIapparel.com or MCMIreport, either or. You can go to and definitely pick up any of the Aiight So Boom merchandise. We have the Sixers has a bunch of stuff up there. MCMI has a couple shirts up there. We got a lot of stuff that I'm adding every day because I design all this stuff, guys. But yeah, if you like the show or you just like the shirts, definitely support. Pick one up. Aiight So Boom.
Boom. I like it. I like it.
Couple other things before we get into the main event.
Okay.
I was gonna show you this new toy I got.
Show me.
I actually got two of them.
Nerds for real.
Yeah.
All right.
Hip hop nerds at that, right? This Biggie, Notorious B.I.G. Ready to Die action figure.
Baby.
Yeah, man, it's pretty dope. This company called Super 7 who make a lot of dope stuff. They made these, and as soon as I saw that they were having them up, I bought them. I don't know if they're still available, but they were like $18 each. He comes with his Tim's on, his leather jacket, he's got his gold chain. Thought it was pretty fly, so I picked it up. Anyway,
dope.
Aside from that, one other little tidbit of news.
What's that?
That is just totally out of left field. So there is this gymnastics place that we take Lola to.
Okay.
And
Lola's our co-host.
Lola, our co-host from last week, right? And so they had a little, party for the family and friends of this place in the park. So they had ice cream and like bouncy things and gymnastic stuff for them to flip all over. So we go there, we take Lola, we're hanging out. We bring a like a picnic blanket, so I'm laying down just hanging out on my phone or whatever, checking out Aiight So Boom. Just on my phone doing whatever. And my wife goes, look up, it's that guy, look up, it's him. And I was like, what? She's like, it's the crazy guy from Boardwalk Empire. I said, what?
Crazy.
And I look up, and it's General Zod.
Oh, Michael Shannon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my dude.
So he lives over
He's in
here.
Brooklyn?
He lives over here, yeah. And and his daughter goes to the same gymnastics.
Dope.
Yeah.
I love Michael Shannon, man.
Yeah, man. I was like, yo, it's General
the
Zod.
crazy dude from Boardwalk Empire
/ Doomsday.
The crazy dude from any movie he's in.
Right, yeah. He never plays sane.
He's never a straight dude. But he's just so stoic and just...
But he looked, I didn't say anything to him, but he looked like a very cool dude just hanging out with his kids and stuff. So
I haven't seen him in a while.
Shout outs to him.
Michael Shannon, we gotta get him a t-shirt.
Yeah, man. Next time.
No doubt.
Last week,
man,
we had an episode where we had a lot to talk about.
Yes. I hope you checked out episode 3.
Yeah. But we didn't. I didn't really like the last episode of Loki, right? Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that this next episode 4, would be better, and maybe make me feel a little bit better about episode 3.
Right.
Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Because I feel no better about episode 3. But I infinitely loved episode 4 better. Like, it was a great episode.
Yeah. As far as episodes go, I no longer see this show as even in episodes. I see it as a movie that's getting better at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, in order for me to enjoy it more,
Mm-hmm.
I can't be out here giving a point system to each episode because it'll almost ruin it. I see it as something that's just like, okay, and then it's building to the end. I feel it's gonna get, it's gonna climax.
It's interesting that a lot of the things that we speculate about do happen, and a lot don't, right? But I mean, that's the fun of these shows is being able to go in and try and figure out what's going to happen next. And I'm always pleasantly surprised when the things that I expect to happen don't happen. Usually,
yeah.
You know, or something else happens, like, oh, I didn't think of that, or whatever.
Right, and when we speculate, we're definitely basing it on what we know, what we don't know. If you compare WandaVision to Falcon to this one, I think the speculation on this one is relatively simple. Like the variants, I think that was relatively easy to catch. The big things, I think I was caught more off guard in these other series, but that's fine. I definitely enjoyed. Well, we'll get into the episode. We'll get into it.
Yeah, so let's start at the top of the episode. Where did it begin at?
Well, we began in Asgard.
Yes.
We began in Asgard.
A variant of Asgard.
Where we really were able to see the history of Sylvie. And that one little scene, was very, very useful. Because it gave us a lot of context to why, what are Sylvie's motivations and why is she so upset with the TVA. Now, the young actress who played young Sylvie, I gotta give her a shout out. Her name is Kaylee Fleming. You don't watch Walking Dead,
no,
but she was the main character, Rick. She played his daughter.
Oh, really?
Grown up,
well, okay.
Like nearing the end.
Got
that baby was born on the show, so you kind of saw her, how do you keep a newborn alive during the apocalypse? And what happens when that newborn gets to like 10, 11? She's carrying around pistols. Like, she's a thug. Yeah, wow. She's a thug. So, just as kid actors go, I like it when they're not annoying. When they're good, I kind of like to give them their props because it's harder to pull that off. So anyway, that first little scene was really informative. They show her playing with these Asgardian toys. She was actually playing with a giant big wolf, kind of like the Ragnarok wolf in Ragnarok.
Is his name Fenris?
I forgot his name.
I think it's Fenris.
Thank you.
I believe. Yeah. And which goes back to what Loki was saying before. Like, there's a saying in Asgard where there are, I think he said, wolf's ears, there are wolf's fangs, or something like that.
Yeah.
So because I believe in the comic books, and y'all will tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. I think Fenris was his pet, or
Thor's pet?
No, Loki's
pet.
Or he might have sent Fenris at some point in time to kill Thor.
Got it.
Something like that.
I'm sure he probably sent that wolf to kill Thor at some point.
It could be one, it could be both, right?
Right, exactly. But she's playing with toys, minding her business, innocent little child, and then you see Ravonna come through with the squad. Yeah. This is a younger Ravonna. No makeup Ravonna.
She had a number. What was her number?
Her number was A23.
Right.
Do you know what that number means?
I do believe that was the first appearance of her in a comic book. I don't know what comic book it was.
Avengers 23.
Avengers 23. Got it.
Avengers 23.
A23. Avengers 23, right?
Which there's so much Kang in that issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kang, falls in love with her. She's a princess. Falls in love with her. She, I think she pretty much kind of buffs him off, whatever.
For quite a while, she tells him yo, kick rocks.
And he's like, okay, I'm gonna destroy your world, basically. I'm gonna Darth Vader your world. So that's kind of how their relationship got started. I
wonder if that first time she went through the golden doors, if that's what
The golden doors.
Anyway,
yeah. So there's so much Kang, like I said, bringing her into that scene, it points to him. We're not see. I don't think we're gonna see Jonathan Majors. We're not gonna see Kang, but these things are just pointing.
Yeah,
pointing,
man. They're really directing us in this direction. and I this one I hope is not a misdirect. I
don't see how it could be.
I don't see either.
I don't see how it could be.
And I think if they point you in this direction for that long, the misdirect would really upset fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And I mean, I give them props because what I believe they're doing, Blitz, is that I don't want to see Jonathan Majors.
I don't want to see him
point it and let us enjoy it later, which is dope.
Or, like the end credit scene of whatever movie it was when we first saw Thanos. You know what I'm saying? If you give us that little itty bitty glimpse, just that little, then I'll be like, you know what? You're saying with Loki's series,
right,
these shows are solidified super, super legit.
Right.
Not that the other ones aren't, but you're telling me that, like, you're showing me something that is happening directly in the movie next at the end of this show. Like him picking up whatever it is.
Right. I think, Kevin Feige's playing his cards right.
Yeah.
If you did not watch Loki, when you see Quantumania, there'll be enough, world building to introduce him proper.
It's so interesting to me that they say that in order to watch the movies and enjoy the movies, you don't need to see the shows.
Yes.
But I'm believing that less and less every day.
Loki is that one show. Loki has more value than the other shows. But I still believe Kevin Feige has had storyline, but Loki does have more of a bearing on the MCU. A direct bearing on the MCU.
You know what? Going directly from Avengers Endgame, right?
Yeah.
Into anything that happens next with Sam Wilson. I could see that being a natural progression without you even seeing Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right?
Okay.
Like he
got the shield.
Cap gave him the shield.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's Captain America.
Captain America 4.
Right, like instantly, and you can cut all of that stuff out that happened and still understand that Cap gave him the shield, he's now Captain America.
Right. He's I didn't want to do this, but I'm doing it now.
Right, so it makes sense, but you're missing so much of the story. That's really cool, though.
Right.
I wonder how that would work for Wanda, because I think her frame of mind from the last Avengers movie going into
Multiverse of Madness
is just so different.
I think we know that she's traumatized. If you didn't watch, let's say you didn't watch WandaVision, right? You watched
last thing. You took everything from me,
right? You watched all that. You watched her anguish, and then at some point she had some sort of upgrade.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You have to assume that grief led her to upgrade her powers, which in the series, if you saw Scarlet, they upgraded her powers with every movie. In Civil War, she was more upgraded than she was in prior.
I'm sure they look at it in a way that it will work without you seeing the shows.
Yeah.
But if you don't see the shows, man, you're losing out on so much.
It may be just enough bliss that they nudge you to go watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's enough that you can get away with it, but you go, something did happen.
Yeah. Let me go back, right?
And then they win. They'll get you regardless.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man. That Kang reference with Ravonna was just very loud. And it was good seeing her in her other phase, because we definitely see a lot of her, and I'm in love with her as an actress.
Right. Interesting that she was even a hunter before she became a judge. A
judge. I will say the best acting to me was in this episode.
Yeah.
I very much noticed specific, performances.
Everybody
they came to work.
Yeah, and that's what I was missing last episode.
Yeah, they came to work. Even Sylvie, I like Sylvie more this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's go. I mean, it's just to flip it. So yeah, they're on Lamentus, right? The two are on this planet that's just being destroyed. You can see you can see this planet coming to them.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world, and Sylvie's pretty much explaining the whole variant thing.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting. She's, her being a woman, being a born female.
Well, that's our understanding of it, right? The fact that she was born female was variant enough for the timekeepers to come get her. But later on, you'll see her ask, "What was it about me that made you have to come get me?"
Yeah.
And then Ravonna's like, I don't even remember. And she's just so dejected from the fact yo, you took my whole life, my whole world from me, and you don't even remember why? That hurts.
Yeah, it does. And I think Ravonna, I think she did that just to be an a-hole, you know? I think she definitely remembers.
Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely the only female Loki variant that we know of.
Yeah, so far.
And she mentioned being the goddess of mischief.
Right.
That to me, I was like, okay, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
They got her as a kid. No emotions, because they definitely don't see variants as human beings, or they having souls at all.
Yeah.
They kind of just clip them. So that kind of made sense, and that fit for me. So they're on this planet, and they find them, and I don't know how you feel about this, Blitz, but the internet has been really talking about how there's a romantic connection between Loki and Sylvie.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't go in that direction.
No, they're going there. They're going there.
But hey, whatever. So they have this little connection, and it causes a little...
I mean, it caused a big rift, right? Because...
They just touched. Like, I'm like, yeah, okay, y'all a little dramatic with this. But...
Well, I think the thing was that in that moment, not only is it that they connected, and that's why, and I don't mean to like jump ahead too far, but that's why that other person that I'll let you reveal kept saying, you're always going to be alone. You're always going to be alone, right? Because Loki's a narcissist.
Right.
So, in order to not be alone, the only person that could love him back is himself, right? Because that's what a narcissist loves, himself.
Yeah.
So he gets another self to love.
Yeah.
Right? So that interaction between the two of them actually like connecting, like on a next level after she because the episode before that, she was still like closed off. She wasn't given too much information. Now she's like, we gonna die. Might as well. And he's showing, empathy towards her, and that let her guard down more. And then once, they do the little touch or whatever, you could tell that if they survive, whatever happens next has such an impact that the Nexus event happens. And, every time we saw a Nexus event before, it was a little branch that kind of went this way, right? This one said...
Right. The trajectory was definitely different.
And because of that, the TVA were able to, come scoop them up.
Intercept them.
Right.
So they're saved, but they're straight into custody, of course. So they're saved from, destruction, straight into custody. And they're separated. Of course,
right, and they ask about each other before, right? Is that like before they're separated, right? So they both come in, and then she's asking, she's like, "You okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good." What I mean?
It's a cool scene with Mobius. Mobius is getting a little bit more suspicious because there's a lot of more questions that are being raised. Even after he gets with Loki, he pretty much has a little moment with Ravonna. And asks about C20. Yeah. Because what he wants to do is, I got Loki. I want to interview him, and then I'm going to interview, Sylvie. Probably talk to C20. So it makes sense, right?
I want to get to the bottom of everything, and I want to talk to everybody.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But Ravonna's hating. Ravonna's like, nah.
Yeah.
C20's dead.
She went crazy, fam.
Right. She was okay, and then she wasn't. Like
she turned into a rabid dog. We had to put it down. My bad, bro.
Ravonna does a horrible job. As a viewer, she's lying.
Yeah.
Like she's lying. But it's another reason why I like her performance, because she's just she's the most conflicted person in this whole show.
Yeah.
Is she good? I mean, she comes off cool. Then it's like, wait, and then it's kind of questionable.
What are her motives for being in the position that she's in? You know what I'm saying? Is it something that they're hanging over her head?
Right.
Are you telling me that more people will die if you don't do what we say?
Right.
Or is it more self-serving? We don't know yet.
Right.
So,
and there's so many factors. They did such a good job. As that you could name about 10 things you don't know if she knows or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is so hard to do in a show.
Yeah.
She knows this, but does she know the timekeepers are real? And you don't know until later.
Even like the micro changes in her facial expressions as the episode goes on. I'm like,
acting. That's just Marvel getting good talent.
Yeah, man.
So C20 is allegedly dead, right? And we see the truth of that later. Mobius goes to Loki, and before he questions him, he softens him up by throwing him into this time loop.
Right.
So now we get into this time loop.
Time loop of jail, yeah.
For the fans, Jamie Alexander, She's gotten the short end of the stick from the Thor film.
Hold on a second. This is the point where I stop the tape and I go back to a previous episode where we talk about Lady Sif. It was interesting. It was interesting.
In the comics, after Ragnarok happens, Loki takes the body of Lady Sif.
Right.
And becomes Lady Loki through Lady Sif.
Right.
Now, it would have been dope! Because fans have been asking for Lady Sif since Thor 2.
Yeah.
It would have been dope if they were able to get that. But, I digress. It didn't happen.
Fire.
That would have been so dope.
If they,
without even announcing it, just she pops up.
Yeah, man.
That would have been really sick. But, actors, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, fans have wanted to see her since the Thor trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of just left. She had her own show, Blind Spot.
Right.
So she had her own. She's an actress doing her thing. But we had to bring her back for this. To me, was just brilliant.
It was awesome.
It was brilliant.
As soon as she walked in, I paused the TV. I was like, "Is that Sif?"
Millions of people at the same time said, "Yo, that's Lady Sif."
That was so dope.
Lady
so
Sif.
Dope. Yeah.
And what's deep about this,
and not just fan service, like it being fan service and appropriate for the show.
Right. 100% appropriate for the show.
Yeah.
Even more appropriate than you may even think out there, because that story is something that actually happened in folklore, where Sif is Thor's wife in the ancient stories. Yeah. Loki cuts her hair bald, right? Of course, for mischief. In order to, Thor comes, kind of kicks his ass a little bit. He goes to the dwarves, right, to get her another head of hair made of pure gold. And in this process of asking for new hair, asks for the dwarves to make Thor Mjolnir, the actual hammer.
Wow.
So from that story comes Mjolnir. I'm not even saying it right.
Mjolnir. Yeah.
Which is a very interesting. Just to have all that kind of be the backstory.
Gold hair sounds really heavy. Bro.
So it wasn't just a lock. Like in the story, he shaved up all her hair. So that right there is the history to bring that into this situation. At first, when he's dropped in there, he's like, "What? You taking me back home?"
Right.
Thanks. Ground me and send me to my room.
Yeah.
When I got video games. So Sif comes through, punches him, kicks him in the nuts, keeps him moving. He's like, what?
And continues to say, you'll always be alone.
You're alone, and you will die.
Yeah. And she continues to say this over and over again as it loops. No matter what he says back to her, she continues to say that.
It's funny because he tries. Great storytelling. The first thing Loki tries to do is say, "Yo, you are an illusion. Help me get out of here."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing. That's something a Loki would do. Let's combine forces and let me use you to get out of here. But we can see that doesn't work.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's not robotic, right? Like her answers to what he says changes but doesn't change.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then as it goes on and he changes, then her response changes a little bit more. Right.
But she's still kicking him in the nuts.
Yeah.
It wasn't until he Loki, this show tears Loki down from the first episode.
Yeah.
From the first episode, it's tearing him down.
They're ripping him apart to build him back up into a new character.
And that's smart. As people, we get cocky. Sometimes we got to be humble.
Yeah.
If those lessons are all in there, which is really cool. He got on his knees and was like, "Listen, I am miserable. I'm narcissistic. I am this. I did it for attention." He was at his
funny. I thought it was funny, and it wasn't.
It was not funny.
My bad.
Now, Sif did not punch him or kick him in the nuts, but she did say those words.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it really hit him.
Yeah.
The 1,000-time loops were all right, but I think that one really, really hit him. Yeah. And that's when Mobius showed up. So, as far as an interrogation tool, give it to the TVA. For them to find something in your life to time loop.
Yeah, but I feel like as an interrogation tool,
you don't think that's effective?
I think it could be effective. I'm just not sure if it was. I'm trying to think if it was effective for Loki. I think it was character building for him, but I don't think it was an effective interrogation tool. It was just. I guess it helped the conversation continue to roll.
Mobius wanted to distract to talk to Ravonna. That was another reason why he did this. True. Right? Mm-hmm. But, whether the story uses it or not, it still softened him up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But you're right. Like, there are so many other things that happen to him, But pretty much after this Mobius, he's like, yo, we've dealt with the Kree in here. We've brought Titans in here.
Vampires. See your Blade.
So you can see Mahershala Ali like, let me watch the show. And then seeing that and being like, oh yeah. What a dap.
Yeah. Only thing they didn't say was mutants.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I love that dap from Marvel property to Marvel property. Sure. You didn't need notes. They didn't need to probably ask. Yeah. It's just like, this is something that's in this universe, and we're gonna just establish it. We know the Kree. We've seen Captain Marvel, so we know who the Kree are. You've seen Guardians of the Galaxy with Ronan the Accuser. We've seen Titans because we know Thanos. So we know this world. That was a dope little callback. So Loki's trying to break down to Mobius. Yo, they're lying to you, kid.
Well, at first he just starts lying to more Mobius.
Yes, he definitely is like, no, I did it. I was in control of this, which of course he wasn't. Yeah. But of course Loki's still up to his old ways, trying to gain some leverage. Yeah. Because of course they're keeping you alive for a reason. So at that point he's like, yeah, you need me. During all this is one of my favorite parts, and that's my girl. B15, B15. Mm-hmm. And you think of Jonathan Majors in Lovecraft Country. They were both in Lovecraft Country, so yeah. I didn't even really notice that until this episode.
Now I was thinking about it,
They're both from Lovecraft. Marvel was just like, we love the show too, and bring them over. But Facts. she from the beginning, she was the main. I mean, she's the one who got Loki.
Yeah, it's interesting to me, and I've noticed this throughout the series, right? Mm-hmm. How massive the TVA looks to us,
right,
and how few characters we actually see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So at some point in time, I was like, TVA is not as big as they make it out to be. That's all smoke and mirrors. There's like 18 people in here,
right?
But it's also possible that the TVA is as deep, is massive, like it's a whole city, right, or even a whole world. Mm-hmm. But we're just dealing with these characters. Yeah, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, they definitely show the same few characters, and I'll show you in a few minutes how they replace a variant with a prisoner in a very slick way. But my girl, Wunmi Masaku, and we're talking about just acting chops. Yeah. She, I'll give her the award for this episode because she doesn't have a lot of minutes.
Right.
But because of her skill, she's able to really bring you... Because they have to prove to you she goes from this character who hates Loki to this character who would pull a Loki from captivity. Yeah. You have to believe that.
Yeah. And it was believable to me. It wasn't like, come on.
Right.
She wouldn't flip.
In a regular show, you're like, come on, man. Yeah, you hated him the whole time. Now all of a sudden you want him?
Yeah.
All right, so B15 sees this poster, and you kind of see she's struggling, Mm-hmm. And the poster says... Did you get them all? Verify through deletion.
Yeah.
One of those TVA creepy propaganda posters that's just like, smiling, but, they're speaking of murder and genocide from time to time. So she sees that, and she's kind of like, we learn that she has memories. Memories were kind of uprooted during that scene in episode 2. So she goes get Sylvie. It looks like she's going to delete Sylvie.
Yeah.
Because you look at the poster, it looks like she's getting maybe angry enough to just kind of end it all.
For sure.
But she doesn't. She uses that as a front to get inside the cell. Mm-hmm. And brings Sylvie back to Roxcart. Yeah. The end of episode 2.
Right.
Where...
A place where no one would see any variants if they're looking at at the monitor.
That's true. I didn't even remember that. But that's true. So they have this little moment where she's like, I know what I saw. I think it was real. Mm-hmm. I need to see it again.
Right. And Sylvie, she's like, what'd you do to my head? And she's like, basically she's just saying, I just showed you your memories.
Right.
That's the only way that it works.
Right.
So she's like, show.
And she didn't, and you're right to bring it up that she did kind of question her because she didn't believe it at first.
Right. She's like, what did you do to my head?
Right.
Right. Like, you was messing with my head. What'd you do to my head? She's like, I didn't do nothing. I just showed you, your past, basically.
Right.
And she's like, do it again, basically. And then, Sylvie does the head tap, and she shows her. And, that when she comes back, she's like, I looked happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that looked like a good time.
Right. Took her back to her ex-boyfriend that was chilling on a boat somewhere. Yeah. Like, these are memories. So if they've been at the TVA their whole life, and all of a sudden you're implanted with these foreign memories, I can imagine it kind of jarring you.
I mean, especially for somebody who like B-15, who's, her directive, her whole mindset is, I have to hunt people down. I'm a hunter. I'm probably one of the best at the TVA to do it. Yep. Like, I hunt people.
Yep.
I'm tough. I'm mean. Mm-hmm. No nonsense. Mm-hmm. And then you show her past, which was, who knows what she was doing back there.
Freak somewhere, getting it in.
I wasn't going that far.
Oh. It's like, what is this feeling?
Yeah, she could have been like,
what was I doing with my legs?
She had a pottery class, and I don't know. Who knows?
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna see if maybe, because we have A, B, and C. Maybe those are tiers. Maybe it's not like the first name. Because we haven't seen foreign letters. We've just seen B and C. Right. A, B, and C.
Right.
So maybe it's some sort of tier thing.
Yeah, A, B, and C is the only ones we've seen.
So that's, interesting. Maybe we'll get the answer to that later. But, Ravonna and Mobius have another little powwow in her office.
Right.
He's signing off on the mission, which is cool. There's like paperwork involved.
Yeah.
But Mobius has questions.
Yeah, as they go on, he's like interject. They're just talking, having drinks, and be like, "Hey, glad this is over."
Right.
So, what's up with C-20 again?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. She was okay, and then she wasn't. Like, Ravonna's very dismissive, very short. Right. Pretty much, this is done. Let's move on with our lives.
And then he's like, how come I couldn't talk to Sylvie?
Right.
And she's like, Sylvie? She's like, yeah, that's what the Loki variant calls herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we know that Ravonna has a history with Sylvie, so it's a sensitive topic. So we kind of can gather that she wouldn't let him speak to her because all Sylvie has to say is, yo, she abducted me when I was a kid.
Right.
I mean, it's very, it would take 5 minutes.
Super cut. Yeah.
It would take 5 minutes. So it's no surprise.
And you already know that she has the enchanting power to show you your past.
That too.
because you already interrogated C-20.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
she knew too much.
Yeah.
So Mobius, being the slickster that he is, distracts her and switches the TemPads with his.
Yeah.
So he takes her TemPad and goes off. Now, later, of course, then Sylvie and B-15 had their moment. Now, later, Mobius goes to the library and offers that TemPad, goes through the files, and sees a little video of C-20 being interrogated by, of course, none other but Ravonna. And she's saying, yo, nah, I lived that life, you know? And she kind of went back to her real life. Yeah. We know we cannot have variants running around the TVA saying this. So then you could just imagine that they killed her after that.
Got to be eliminated.
Well, they pruned her. We don't have to say killed.
Right. They may have just pruned. They may have.
Hopefully.
They might have just killed her, right? But hopefully they pruned her.
I mean, we're learning that pruning is the new killing, so I'm hoping that they just pruned her and we'll see her later. We'll get later to that whole pruning situation, But, he switches the TemPad, he gets that. So we know that Mobius knows what's up. Mobius knows what's up.
He knows something. He knows something, and he wants more information, right. and that's always been his thing. Is like I want to get more. I want to figure this out.
Yeah,
he's a problem solver, but not just like I'm going to go from A to B. Right. I need to know why. Yeah. And how.
He would definitely be the hardest person to convince. Yeah. He wasn't enchanted. He didn't have those mental magic problems, so everything's kind of factual to him. But if you think about the jet ski, if you kind of add things up, you can tell he has some solid doubts. So he turns to Loki. They have a little conversation. And at this point, Ravonna, realizes her TemPad's missing, right? So as they're kind of having a little powwow, Ravonna kind of comes in with the squad like, yo, I think you have something of mine. And of course, they have a little confrontation, and it doesn't take long before she prunes Mobius.
Yeah, man, that was shocking.
It was
a little bit shocking.
It was, and that kind of led me to go, okay, pruning might not be killing. Or then I was like, well, there are multiple Mobiuses, so maybe I thought maybe another Mobius will take over.
Right.
That's kind of the thought process.
But see, that's you having inside information, right? That there are multiple Mobiuses, and maybe perhaps there still are, right? But it could possibly be that she just keeps resetting this Mobius, and that's why the whole thing with the ring. We keep going back to this little scene that seemed like it didn't mean so much. But we felt like it meant something. The rings on, when he puts down his glass. And
you think there may be one Mobius that they reuse?
I think that Mobius is her friend, and every time that he starts thinking too much, they just erase his memory again. Or erase that part of his memory that he got too far or he got too close to the truth.
That's possible.
Yeah.
What I think... I mean, I don't think they've had this many issues in the I think in the TVA has been kind of peaceful. These Lokis coming in the last few episodes, I think was really the major, times where they're like, all right, we need to address the reality of the situation. Mm-hmm. I think they've had a good run.
Yeah.
I think Mobius has been a good worker. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we'll learn exactly about how those variants work. But yeah, it's still an interesting thing. He's pruned. So as an audience member, you're kind of like, you don't know what's happening.
He's gone. We're not going to see him again. It's how it felt at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, definitely. So that kind of clears that area, but now we need to see the timekeepers because they need to kind of get, I guess, their sentencing.
Yeah, which is really
weird. It's weird because, I mean, not to cut you off, but I thought it was weird because they usually prune when they want to prune.
Yeah.
Right? So thank you. I'm glad you even recognized that. Because I'm like, y'all don't go to the timekeepers for permission to prune. But Loki's are...
because of that super special Nexus event, because that's the name of the episode, right? A Nexus event. Because of that, maybe the timekeepers wanted to see them like, who are these people that caused this, this insane Nexus event?
Yeah. Even earlier episodes, B15 is like, yo, just prune him. Like,
right.
If
they were just pruned
They were
away.
just ready to do it.
Like, poke him with the stick.
Loki would have been pruned. Ravonna, prune him. Like, so this was like, okay. It's probably Sylvie. It's probably the presence of Sylvie. Mm-hmm. And not even Loki necessarily that brought it to the timekeepers. Sure. That would make more sense to me. Because Sylvie is that variant.
Yeah.
So this is the moment we've all been waiting for, quite frankly. And even as watching it, you're like, are you really going to see these dudes?
Right.
What are you gonna say?
Stand outside those doors.
I was like,
see that? What is going to happen? Are we going to see like I was thinking like last episode? It's just another Loki back there.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Kang?
Yeah.
Are we going to see those 3 cartoon dudes?
Yeah.
What are we going to see when they open these doors?
They did it, and when they opened the doors, straight Wizard of Oz vibes, yo.
Yeah.
Straight up against the wall. Mm-hmm. Like, it was straight up Wizard of Oz. And I thought of, until the second time I saw it, I thought of Wizard of Oz. And I'm like, remember WandaVision? When Scarlet Witch is fighting Agatha and she throws a car at her and does this little Wicked Witch of the West reference with the knocking out the boots in the house. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yo, Marvel really loves Wizard of Oz. There's another clear like Wizard of Oz reference, but
I think I've even referenced that before. Like it felt like I was like, I don't know if the timekeepers are real. This might be like, the great and powerful Oz. And, it looked cool to me. It looked really cool to me. Like once you went in there, I was like, wow. And when you go in and you see them, I'm like, yo, they really got these timekeepers in here?
Yeah. You're so confused.
I was mad. Yeah. I was like, nah, trick me.
Yeah.
Or don't trick me and make me, validate my suspicions.
Yes. They did a good job when it comes to the timekeepers.
Yeah.
So at that moment, you don't know what to feel. You don't know what you're seeing. You don't know if what you're seeing is real.
Yeah, it was very like it made it disconcerting. Like I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
like they're there, but
right.
but something I can't put my finger on. Right?
Yeah. Which is success. I mean, that's
success.
Complete. And we're nerds. Like we're analyzing every moment. And we're sitting here like, I don't know if I can believe what I'm even seeing.
Right.
And that is a great moment to have for your audience.
Yeah, man. So something was definitely off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it was all cool to see.
Yeah, CGI, they definitely, the look was dope.
Mm-hmm.
The lighting was really special. They did that with Lamentis, the lighting was a little off and it kind of gave a nice little tone.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way the lighting in this little cave was it's just very ominous.
Yeah, it was super ominous, spooky.
Cinematography.
Like, I don't know where we are. Did we just step into another dimension? Because, it was like, and even the way that the timekeepers talked, like it seemed like they were out of phase almost.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, kudos to the design on those. So they're in there, you can see this little trial going, and it doesn't take long before it to go left. They're pretty much kind of being presented to these gods. Ravonna is genuinely scared, right? So you could tell, all right, she believes in them. You know what I'm saying? She believes they're real, right? And once that's presented, it doesn't take long before there to be conflict, whereas they kind of just bust off into a fight.
Yeah.
B-15 comes through from the back, throws Sylvie her sword.
Yeah.
Because we know that, B-15 knows the truth.
Yeah.
And she's willing to die right now for the truth.
Yeah.
She's been fully converted.
Now, did she just get hit or did she get stabbed?
B-15?
Yeah.
She, I don't think she got stabbed. I think she just got beat the hell up.
Okay. Because I was unsure, like, what happened to her in that at that point.
Yeah, they kind of they didn't show her getting killed or anything. It's funny, she had a weapon and she gives it to Sylvie, and the second she gave her up a weapon, the two TVA officers just pummeled the shit out of her.
Right.
They just kicked her to the ground.
Yeah,
but so they're fighting. Ravonna's not even fighting yet. Sylvie chucks the sword at the timekeepers in the most gangster move of the series and decapitates one of them.
Yeah.
The middle one. They always show
his head rolled down like it reminded me of
guillotine.
Dag, I don't know why I can't remember his name right now.
Ned?
It'd be really cool if I could remember his name.
Oh, Ned Stark.
Nah, I was thinking James Earl Jones and Conan.
Oh wow, you took it back.
Yeah,
because his head really rolled.
Yeah, it went down the stairs like plop, 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 right?
Yes. Oh, as a kid, I loved that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that on the screen.
Oh, as a kid, I loved that. Shout out to James Earl Jones.
Word.
Conan the Barbarian. So heads were rolling. And we realized, and it's funny because even anytime they show the timekeepers, bro, they show the middle one and then they show the other two.
Yeah.
And one sends the other two over here, and they only show the middle one. So it's very congruent to, so much so that we're thinking Kang is involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They focus on the middle one so much.
Yeah.
It's like, that must be Kang.
Yeah.
So anyway, this one's killed, and they learn soon that it's an android.
Word. Just bunch of circuits in there inside their head, and I was like, that's why they look like they were straight out of Chuck E. Cheese.
Right.
Like,
This is straight up mannequin challenge.
yeah, man.
So that is an issue. They have a little fight. Ravonna. Before that, Loki and Sylvie kind of come to this realization. They've been through a lot together, right?
Yeah.
They've had a disappointment at the Lamentis with the Ark. And they kind of had another moment like that here, where it's like we think we know what's going on,
right?
And we realize we're screwed because we don't. Where I'm kind of back where I started.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvie spent literally her whole life to get to that moment.
You know what was interesting is, to me, her when they were on Lamentis, and each time when he first brought those two to Lamentis, she was just so dejected, like, oh, you brought us to Lamentis. This is terrible. It's over. And then he's like, nah, we can do this. Watch. And then they get on the train, right? And he messes that up, and then they get kicked off the train. She's like, it's over. And he's like, nah, fam, we're gonna go to the Ark. We're gonna make it happen, right? So then they get to the Ark. Ark blows up. He's standing there like, oh man. She walks off like, fam, it's over.
First. Yeah.
Then this happens, and she realizes that the timekeepers aren't real, right. and he's like, nah, hold on, right? Every time she thinks the fight is over, he gives her hope.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? He is injecting that. We can. There's still something going on here. all we got to do is keep working.
Yeah.
So it's just that dynamic of him being the injector of
positivity.
Of positivity.
That's interesting.
Or Loki giving positivity, right? Or hope, or
He even gave her props. He was like, "Yo, you had them on their heels,
right,
for all this time. You're awesome." Like he was giving her a lot of encouragement.
Yeah, man.
So that's a good thing to notice. Because with his character, obviously you're noticing all of his growth.
And I think that was a big part, not just their love for one another when they were when Lamentus was about to explode, but him changing as a person.
Yeah.
Like what I mean, he made that hurdle from like probably most likely always gonna be a bad guy,
right?
Always alone to. Right. Nah, he's actually an okay dude,
right.
and this union between the two of them, could change the world.
Can change the world, yeah. And if you want somebody to fall in love with you, ladies and gentlemen, just create a fake apocalypse.
Facts.
You heard it here first.
Aiight So Boom.
Aiight So Boom. So yeah, I mean, as he's kind of pouring his heart out and giving her that upliftment, Ravonna comes from behind.
Yeah, he's trying to tell her what happened on Lamentus, like what that event
what it meant
to him, and how it made him feel, and then
right. That's very important because they're professing. Like I said, I wasn't into the romantic part of this story, but if it's happening, whatever. But he's pretty much very close to saying "I love you." You're like you almost feel it happening.
Right.
I love myself. I mean you. Ravonna prunes him from behind.
Hey yo.
I mean, it's Ravonna. Ravonna, you can prune me anytime you want, baby. But anyway, so she prunes him, and of course, as an audience member, you're like, okay, I kind of got it when Mobius was pruned, but you ain't gonna prune Loki,
right? And in that moment, right, I'm just like, yo, is that the last of this Loki of Tom Hiddleston?
Right. Are they gonna throw another variant to finish it out? Like,
or is the rest of the series just Sylvie? Loki. You know what I'm saying? Is Sylvie now the main Loki in the MCU?
They ain't doing that.
No, they're not. He's too valuable.
But I like that they toyed with it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they ain't do that because that would have been really crazy. So of course he's pruned, and of course Ravonna and Sylvie had that moment, that fight.
Yeah, man. So it was a good fight.
It was a good fight, you know, woman to woman.
But you can't assume that Ravonna is going to beat this Loki, who I assume has been training throughout different timelines all her life, because she's a pretty proficient fighter. It seems.
Yeah. I mean, they have beef from when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Imagine having beef with somebody since you were 11 years old, and then you're an adult, and you have the opportunity to kick their ass. And that's pretty much what happened. Sylvie's like, I'm waxing that ass. You ain't getting this from me. So she pretty much gets the upper hand. She gets the purge stick, or whatever you call it, and pretty much has Ravonna. And an interesting moment where she's like, I'm going to purge you. And Ravonna's like, do it.
Yeah.
Once again, acting. You can see in her face, she's like, I'm in anguish.
She's like, yo, I'm tired.
I'm not even happy.
Yeah.
You don't see that often, you know? And that was conveyed just so well. She's like, just do it, man. I'm tired of this. But she doesn't. Sylvie says, nah, you're going to tell me anything.
Yeah.
Which is the smartest thing you could ask.
Right.
And that's how the episode ends. Almost. If you watch Marvel movies long enough, you know there are often after credit sequences. Even with the Marvel shows, if you notice, after episode 4, there are after credit sequences.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. So, what do we see? And this after I've rewinded this a few times.
Man, I rewound, I paused. I was just like that one shot. I was so like,
cool.
Okay, this is that. Why is he there? Like, yeah, oh my god.
So effing cool. Loki gets up. You kind of see him kind of poke his head up, and you hear a voice.
Mm-hmm.
You hear, well, he says, am I in hell?
Right.
Now we know from, Asgardian, folklore, they're not speaking about hell as we're speaking about hell.
One L.
They're speaking about hell as in Hela, the whole purgatory, this whole kind of place where you're kind of sitting in limbo depending on how you live.
Yeah.
So Loki, of course, asks, am I in hell? And you hear a voice saying, you will be dead pretty much if you don't come with us.
Right.
And he kind of comes up a little bit, reminiscent of the first Avengers film.
He says, "Am I in hell? Am I dead?" And then the voice says, "No, but you will be if you don't come with us," or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Kind of like a Terminator.
Yeah.
Come with me if you want to live.
Now get to the chopper. That was a terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Not that bad. So he kind of comes up, and you see this image, man. This is the money shot. This is my favorite shot of probably the entire series.
The whole season, yeah.
Because we've been talking about this multiple Loki thing.
Yes.
If you remember, if you've been watching Aiight So Boom, in a joke, I've asked, is there going to be a black Loki?
Man.
He switches it up in different realities.
Yeah, and in the comic book, there's young Loki, there's kid Loki, there's there's female Loki who comes after, I think, like Ragnarok or something like that. He switches into this female version of himself for a while. And
is there a black Loki?
It's a lot of Lokis, man.
Blackie?
Ooh. That shot came in, me and my wife both sat up in bed and said, "There's Blackie! There's Blackie!"
Yo, Blackie / Blokey is
whatever you
here.
want to call him. He was there.
He is here. He's real.
That was amazing. You talked it into existence.
Man, it was it was so cool how they did that. And we'll break down the different Loki variants.
Yeah.
Because that's very important. But just how they set this up was just very lovely. From a casting perspective, we know that we have, you want to go through the Lokis?
Yeah.
You down? Okay. Let's start with Black Loki. Black Loki is supposed to be, from the comics, boastful Loki, which has his own storyline. Really? Yeah. So we can kind of break down to see where the influences of these Lokis come from. But of course they did their own thing, because he has a hammer.
Yeah.
He has his own version of Mjolnir,
which looked like it was made from like a wrench and then a big piece of like iron from like a broken building or something,
So we don't know. Maybe this Loki is worthy.
It was.
You think you don't think it's Mjolnir?
I think if the connotation it gave me was, I want to be like Thor, so I'm going to make a Thor hammer, but it's not Thor's hammer. That's just.
It can happen. We have Kid Loki.
Yes, that looked very Kid Loki.
I'm sorry, boastful Loki, Black Loki. I'm sorry. I'm gonna give you your name. His name is Dioba Operi. He has an African name, so I'm probably butchering it. I apologize. Dioba Operi.
Mm-hmm.
That is boastful Loki, aka Bloki.
Got it.
He's gonna be a star.
And in the credits, that was what he was called, boastful Loki.
Boastful Loki.
Got it.
We have Kid Loki.
Yeah.
Played by Jack Veal. We know Kid Loki from the comics.
The costume was like spot on. He looked a little different. The actor that they picked looked a little different than I expected Kid Loki to look. Mm-hmm. But the costume was like, that was Kid Loki's costume.
Well, if he looks different, Blitz, I hope that means
had
he
the
has
little wings on the side and everything.
Yeah.
It had the Loki horn V on the.
They went comic accurate.
Yeah.
If he doesn't look like him, I hope he has the acting chops to make up for it. We saw an alligator Loki.
An alligator Loki,
which makes me think that we may see a frog Thor.
Throg.
Right? Like,
I was talking about that, and it was the same thing. I'm talking to my wife, and she's like, "What's the alligator doing there?" I was like, "I mean, reptiles. There was a Thor. There was a frog named Throg."
Loki turns Thor into a frog,
right,
for many issues, and Thor still was the worthy and still won the day. So they kind of played with these things, even in Ragnarok.
But then there was an actual frog Thor that wasn't Thor,
right?
Because they made the Pet Avengers,
right?
And then he was in the Pet Avengers. Yeah. It was Fluffy, it was Throg, it was Lockjaw.
Yeah.
Who else was in it? I think Lockheed was in it. Stupid comic book, but whatever.
And that made me think, I thought of, Taika Waititi in Love and Thunder. He would be the one to bring a frog Thor into the mix.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening in Love and Thunder.
1,000%.
And I could totally see alligator Thor eating him.
Right. So you see that version. The last version and the most important, the version, aside from Loki, of course, is Richard E. Grant, who's a classic actor playing classic Loki.
And the color on this is going to get washed out, but the classic Loki, he's wearing this costume. Classic Loki. That's not going to help. He's still green. Yeah. But yeah, with the the all of that
comic accurate,
super comic accurate.
So comic accurate that it looks silly in comparison, which is what it's Jack Kirby. That Jack Kirby drew that out.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
original Thor, the reason of Loki, the reason why the Avengers even became the Avengers, that was that Loki.
Yeah.
Which also brings me to the fact that they were in a dystopian New York, and you could see Avengers Tower in the back.
Yes.
So where are they, or when are they?
Yes. Does that mean to say that during this Avengers battle that brought Loki there was just more of a momentous event than we maybe that was a mark in time that they kind of used to
or once at least so much up to speculation, right?
Yeah.
Because we have 5 Lokis in one place, right?
Right.
So when you get pruned, do you go to your own world where there's only you, everyone that got pruned? Like, is this Loki world?
Right.
Or
is everybody there?
Or when you get pruned, does it take you to the point where you're where you got pruned? Because if you think about it, when he got when our Loki, the main one from this show, got pruned was right after the battle for New York, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe this is if he won, right? Or if the what are they called? Not the Skrulls, but the bad guys that he brought down.
The Chitauri?
The Chitauri, right? If the Chitauri had succeeded,
that's what it would have been.
That's what it would have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it was so hellish, Yeah. It was so hellish. I felt that it was even more drastic than the after effects of that battle. It looked like
it was destroyed. It was a wrap. This was like
inhabitable,
end of the world. Yeah, dystopian. Like,
yeah. So I'm curious. We're gonna find out next week. But yeah, those questions were definitely immediately raised.
Yeah.
Because I think you could have missed the fact that the Avengers Tower was back there very easily.
Yeah.
I didn't see it the first time I saw the episode, so it's just so subtle. We're gonna learn. What that's all about.
Yeah. Who was what is the actor's name? Old Loki?
Richard E. Grant.
Yeah. And we were talking last week, and I was like, "Yo, when they open the golden doors, if they open the golden doors, it's gonna be him back there. It's gonna be old evil Loki." But it wasn't, man. They tricked us.
I believe he's the most important Loki, though. I feel moving forward, in my opinion. I think he's gonna be the one. Imagine, think about it. He's older Loki. I believe he knows more about the multiverse. He knows about the plot.
Man, if you think about it, as Guardians and Frost Giants too, I'm sure, age at such a slower rate. Loki's got to be like 1,000, 2,000 years old. So old Loki,
tens of thousands. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, he's seen a lot of things. So yeah, that pretty much ended the episode. There's a detail that I mentioned before that I want to bring up. There in the old variant conversation, there's one scene where they did a flashback of little Sylvie, and little Sylvie's being brought into the TVA for the first time, and she's seeing all these new it's old to us, but the older TVA,
right?
And there was a prisoner that they brought in.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to show the picture up there, but that prisoner, they actually show that prisoner as a TVA agent, bro.
I didn't catch that. I did not catch that.
Shouts to, I believe it was Screen Crush on YouTube. But they pointed out this gentleman who is pretty much he had long hair. You'll see he brought his. Oh, you can't know me. He had long hair, and they showed later when they were trying to save the multiverse. They showed this guy, this nerdy guy who's nerdy, mustache, same guy, haircut, same actor, brilliant guys.
Yeah, man, bro.
brilliant.
I give it up, yo.
The continuity's brilliant.
I'm gonna tell you when I don't like something last week, and when I do like something this week.
Yeah.
It was night and day to me. The difference is, I felt like last episode was episode 3 was all to set up the relationship between Loki and Sylvie, right? And I just feel like they could have done it a lot better and a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't need all of that. And y'all played super loose with Loki's power set. If you're telling me that it was just him using his regular old powers to make this giant pillar go back up in the air.
I guess it was, too.
Like, come on, yo, fam. He should have he should not have as many problems if that is one of his powers.
They were very inconsistent with his powers.
Yeah, man.
Definitely. That's definitely one of the small complaints of this show, is that his power sets are like, he's weak one time, strong one time.
Yeah. But you know, the way that they showed at the beginning with Sylvie using her powers on C20 and jumping from memory to memory, and in 3 seconds, in 3, you know, very quickly we got it.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I understand that at the end of all of this, C20 is going to obviously gives up the information.
Yeah.
You could have had, you know, very short clips of those two jumping from Armageddon to Armageddon, and each time they got a little friendlier, or something like that. But episode 3 it didn't work for me the way that they expected it to work. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people did like that episode a lot, so maybe I'm just wrong. But
no, I believe if you took a consensus of fans, I think that was the weakest episode. I think from a general consensus, I think I'm in the minority where I think that was, to me, it was, I don't know, I got more out of it. But this episode, I definitely, like I said, I see this as a movie that's just getting better at the end. I'm trying my best.
Yeah, and you even said, like,
judge.
Tom Hiddleston, he says that the last, two or three?
That's what he said.
Yeah, are his favorites. So I'm sure it's only going to continue to get better and crazier and give us more twists and turns that we weren't expecting.
We're seeing a pattern, though, because every interview with every show has been, what are your favorite episodes? The last 2, they all have said that.
Yeah.
Vision said it the first one. I forgot his name. You know, they all kind of have their own version.
I mean, but you got to ramp up, right? Like it's got to be that way. Like you're building story, and then you can like just blow everything up. Of
course, you know, the first 2 episodes are going to be slow. It's going to be some world building. There's going to be a 3rd episode that's going to be like a little pivot.
Yeah,
you know, and then you kind of bring it home.
Yeah, man.
6 episodes, nice little formula.
Yeah, man. We got 2 episodes left.
2 left, man.
And in between those 2, I do believe that we have to review Black Widow.
Got Black Widow. Yeah. I'm hearing some good reviews from that so far.
Me too. Everything that I've read, and I've been, you know, reading people's tweets, and then somebody even did a podcast, a spoiler-free podcast, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm hearing that it's different, but it's still fresh. I'm hearing like The Guardian, you know, is getting good reviews. Everybody wants him to have his own movie. Yep. So we'll see. Definitely stick tuned to Aiight So Boom, because we're going to give our own breakdown.
And we're spoiling everything once we see it. Yo, listen, Marvel, you know, holla. Send us a press pass so we can go see the premiere.
We knew Loki was coming way before he was.
We might have known before you.
What episode was that? Was that the first and 2nd episode?
Loki was episode.
It was early, bro.
2. Was it episode 2 or episode 3?
Don't play with us.
Don't play. We do this.
We know what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
We know what's up. But I want you to come back next week, and then we're going to have a nice little, you know, grand finale.
Yeah.
And then we're going to move on to the next show.
Yeah, man. That's what we do. Giving y'all information, little tidbits that you might have missed or that you might not know about. This is Aiight So Boom. I am LR Blitzkrieg.
I am T-shirt model, the Marksman.
Make sure you go click the link, check out our store, see if you like anything. If you don't, buy it anyway.
It's summer. Everyone's doing T-shirts.
Subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications, leave a comment, tell your friends. You know, this is what we do here.
Tell all the nerd friends you have. We know you have them.
Yeah, you got them. And even, you know what I'm saying, we got to stop that, because everybody's watching these shows now.
This is true.
Everybody. This is pop culture. You know what I'm saying? It used to be nerd culture. It is now pop culture. Everybody is into it. You know, it's not just for kids. It's not just for adults. It's for everybody. And you know, it's great escapism. And there's always something to it. There's meat to it, where you know these shows mean something. They have a storyline that you know you can talk about.
Yeah.
And have these conversations and dialogue and stuff like that.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. This has been another episode of Aiight So Boom.
That's how we're gonna do it.
How you like? You want to exit? You have a better one? Go, you got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Aiight So Boom.